Hello. How you doing out there? How's everybody feeling tonight? Welcome to Juneau Park. Thank you for being here, everybody. What a beautiful night. This is wonderful. Really excited this evening for this, our third Poetry in the Park reading of the season. This one featuring Ty Newcomb, R.B. Simon, Soham Patel, and Siwar Masannat, which will begin imminently. But first, I'm Mike Wendt. I'm the program director at Woodland Pattern. Thanks. On behalf of Woodland Pattern, I'm assuming that's for Woodland Pattern. No, I mean, it's definitely for me. Before we get underway, so I have a few announcements, so I'll get into that. But first thing, I'd like to begin with a land acknowledgement and say that we at Woodland Pattern acknowledge that here in Milwaukee we live and work on traditional Potawatomi, Ho-Chunk, and Menominee homelands along the southwest shores of Michigami, part of North America's largest system of freshwater lakes where the Milwaukee, Menominee, and Kinnickinnick rivers meet, and the people of Wisconsin's sovereign Anishinaabe, Ho-Chunk, Menominee, Oneida, and Mohican nations remain present. We further acknowledge the grave evil colonialism introduced to these lands through genocide as well as slavery, but also via racist and xenophobic beliefs, laws, and practices that continue to inflict harm upon Black, brown, and indigenous lives. We honor those who have lived and do now at these intersections of identity and experience and are committed to the active dismantling of white supremacy. Many thanks again to you all for being here. I just want to say that this season's events have been and will continue through next month to be made possible thanks to the National Endowment for the Arts, Bob Hanson, and the Juneau Park Friends, who are at that table over there. And with that having been said, I would love to invite someone from the Juneau Park Friends, Lindsey from the Juneau Park Friends, to come and say a bit about who they are, what they do, and their good work of maintaining this beautiful space. Lindsey.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsey St. Arnold Bell. I'm the president of Juneau Park Friends, and I want to just thank you all for being here tonight and enjoying this beautiful evening in the park. We are so grateful for our partnership with Woodland Pattern and for the wonderful Poetry in the Park programs that they are doing every summer here, bringing great arts directly to Milwaukee's front door. And as a friends group, sponsoring Woodland Pattern and Poetry in the Park is just one thing that we do. We've been working hard over the last year to bring new improvements to the park. If you've noticed the pollinator garden over by the restroom building, it's been lovingly maintained by our new board member Bonnie and a number of our board members who had volunteered. We have great volunteer opportunities to clean the park, to green the park. And we're also proud to share that we just recently helped to add 10 new picnic tables to the area. So, yes, exciting stuff. This is one of Milwaukee's many jewels, green jewels, and we hope to help be great stewards of the space, to help make it relevant space for our community to be in, to use, and to enjoy in ways that they see fit. So thank you for the opportunity to share with you here today. We do have wine and some snacks if you want to stop by and say hi between poets. We would love to see you. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Lindsey, and to you all. It's an incredible partnership and allows us to continue putting on this fantastic series and enjoy this beautiful space, so thank you. A couple other things. One is, I hope you will visit us at the book table right here, and there's Allison helping out, running the book table, doing a fantastic job. So come see us there after the reading. Of course, we have books by R.B. Simon, by Soham Patel and Siwar Masannat, as well as information about things that are coming up including our print newsletter, a flyer for our brunch raiser, which take that with you and come see us again. That's a segue into the next thing, which is things that are happening relatively soon. So our brunch raiser, September 15th, that is going to be our second annual fantastic event, which will feature, I gotta take a breath to tell you all of the things that it's gonna feature. Make sure I have enough air to keep talking, because it's a lot and it's amazing. No, but okay. It's gonna be, September 15th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. During that time, it's a brunch raiser, so there will be brunch. Additionally, there will be keynote readings from Milwaukee's Youth Poet Laureate, Alina Ahmed. There will be a reading from former U.S. Poet Laureate Juan Felipe Herrera. There will be music by Mariel Alschwang with Adam Krause. So much more. We'll be honoring some wonderful individuals who've done quite a lot to help Woodland Pattern continue being what it is. Brenda Cardenas, Carl Gartung, who without whom there wouldn't be a Woodland Pattern, and Yu Chen Zhao. Anyway, so lots of things happening. September 15th, that is at the Cooperage. Tickets on sale now, and you can get yourself a flyer and find out more. And then lastly, I want to mention, of course, that we'll be back here next month on September 10th for what will be the final Poetry Park reading of the season. But we're going out on a real high note. That'll feature Jordan Dunn, Alex Niemi, Crystal Langwell, and Mathias Svalina, who Mathias Svalina will also be in town for a couple of weeks in September with his dream delivery service, and there's information about how you can have dreams delivered to you either by bicycle or mail during the couple of weeks that he's here. So come find out about that at that book table. All right, that's enough information from me, right? Now it's my great pleasure to start welcoming poets. The first of whom I'm excited to say is Ty Newcomb, who is a Ph.D. student at UWM finishing his third year. Ty is originally from the Gulf Coast of Louisiana, where he first fell in love with fish, bugs, birds, and all sorts of non-human animal life. He mostly writes about these critters and the ever-vanishing natural world around them. Ty's work has been seen in Denver Quarterly, Stone Coast, Marathon, Into the Void, Salt Front, and is upcoming in Artful Dodge. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome Ty Newcomb.
Hello. Thank you all for coming out. It's so great to be invited to be at Poetry in the Park. Thanks, Mike, and everyone at Woodland Pattern for having me. Been really looking forward to this, so I guess all I can do is get started. I know my intro said that I mostly write about animals and all that good stuff, and I do, and you'll see a little bit of that in here, but I kind of brought together a packet and things I've been working on in my dissertation about music, ambient music, and popular music, and all kinds of music, so definitely expect to see references to popular music and things like that. All right. Here I go. Apostrophe. Little ear, little cabinet handle with pores of hammered copper, surface area distributed across sensory organ, exploration without threat of losing grip, celestial response of church bells turned to static. I give you Q-tip. You give me elision like plasma spewing from atop broken microwave. I give you fingers, you give me equations like tiny ants, machines counting machines, but a pot atop a tub, blood coursing. And a dentist jumps from a bridge because his appliances talk to him. A traffic jam ensues. A few folks honk or they don't. Okay, this next poem is about Brian Eno. I'll just say that. It's called My Music for Airports. It opens with a long sort of quotation from Brian Eno, so I'll just try to speed through that. Whereas conventional background music is produced by stripping away all sense of doubt and uncertainty, and thus all genuine interest from music, ambient music retains these qualities. And whereas their intentions is to brighten the environment by adding stimulus to it, ambient music is intended to induce calm and a space to think, Ambient music must be able to accommodate many levels of listening attention without enforcing one in particular. It must be as ignorable as it is interesting. Brian Eno from the linear notes of Ambient 1 Music for Airports. 1-1. On the radio today, I heard the theoretical physicists talking about an ultrasound of gravitational waves, universe milliseconds from birth. The scientific world waited for it. To see the umbilical cord to our parent universe. There's a warm flow I'm feeling from it now. It brings parcels with small toy, musical instruments, nuts and bolts, but mostly empty space. 2-1. Horse munching on willow leaves, blast blackberry rattling in plastic caddy, Satsuma thud onto muddy hills slope, string of polymer beads falling into box of more beads, sycamore seed caught twirling between stones, silver spoon agitating jelly in a shallow glass jar, cicada burst of fresh-dried wings to flight, chef's knife slid down, honing steel in expectation, thunder rolling senseless in rays of sunlight, a laugh in the back pews of mass, light bounding in beam over dying puddle, tin roof contracting in the meek bite of autumn, empty chitin husk drying on the bark, molecule of pectin slowly gelling in a fridge, germinated pit erupting with cotyledon, plastic yielding to water gently crumbling to microbits, mud clotting, burying, locking away, deleting, mold devouring, wilting fruit in dim cold corner, leaf falling, wind pardon onto parched dirt. 1-2. Incommensurable notes, called them. Incommensurable, to be without integers. Integer, in, expressing negation, tangier, to touch, to be untouchable, to be wind and not the canopy of leaves, to be moving and be unmovable. Sonic loops with no common mother beat, a feat achieved by the physical looping of polyester film tape. The development of tape music began in 1948. They called their creations musique concrète, a term emphasizing their choice of a variety of natural sounds as raw material. Musique concrète, concrete music. Concrete, existing in a material or physical form, not abstract. Music, vocal or instrumental sounds, or both, combined in such a way as to produce beauty of form, harmony, and expression of emotion. To be wind, not the canopy of leaves. To be moving and be unmovable. Tape wrapped around a series of aluminum chairs found in studio to achieve variations as the loops interlocked in different ways, interlocked of two or more things, engage with each other by overlapping or by fitting together of projections and recesses, projection and estimate or forecast of the future situation or trend based on recess, suspend temporarily, not likely to come back into sync again, sync, working well together in agreement, abbreviation for synchronization, synchronizin, sin with, chron, time is in, to make or to conform to be wind, not the canopy of leaves, to be moving and be unmovable. 2-2. Stripping away body rhythms, adding body rhythms, stripping away body rhythms, adding body rhythms, adding body rhythms, stripping away body rhythms, stripping away body rhythms, adding body rhythms, adding body rhythms, stripping away body rhythms, stripping away body rhythms, stripping away body rhythms, adding body, stripping away body rhythms, adding body rhythms, adding body rhythms, adding body rhythms, stripping away body rhythms, adding body rhythms, adding, stripping away body rhythms, adding body rhythms, stripping away body rhythms, adding body rhythms, adding. Okay, next poem. Kodiak Bear remembers song lines she used to think she understood when she was a cub. How do I get back there to the place where I fell asleep inside you? Love is a cave, and forethought the winter. I'll not be a gentleman behind the boathouse. I'll show you my dark secret. 1.5 million winks, turn thin to gut. Push the little daisies and make 'em come up. dews, gazoon-tight petals, yellow dust on the belly's fur. Oh, and you come crash into me, baby, and I come into you. Barrels of fog, aroma of garbage on the wind. Is she perverted like me? Would she go down on you in a theater? Logging roads throb like a bee in the nostril. I love myself. I want you to love me. When I feel down, I want you above me. Chopper above whirs, nosy gusts misheard for timber. Step back, you're dancing kinda close. I feel a little poke coming through on you. Fear is a space between lanterns burning fat. Don't worry about, don't speak of doubt. Turn your head now, baby, just spit me out. Flee over high water, move through curls of fortune. This next poem is, it uses a lot of borrowed language from the YouTube comments for a video that's just the song Flirtin' with Disaster by Molly Hatchet. I think I was just looking at that song because I wanted to learn it on guitar. But I noticed something really funny about the comments, and I'm sure you'll see it as well. And it's interlaced with some narratives from my own family history and things. 1. Glad there are people out there that still think highly of Molly Hatchet. You're driving, look down, and realize you're doing 100. My minivan, a muscle car, at least in my head. R.I.P. to all original 6 band members who have all passed away. One of the best driving songs ever. Takes me back to my 67 Mustang days. Reminds me of my dog who loved to feel his ears flapping in the wind as we cruised. I want this played at my funeral. Got a quiet dad, quiet as his father, so on and so forth. A generation of men sporting up-curled handlebar mustaches like Dick Dastardly from Wacky Races. They might secretly get pleasure from binding folks to train tracks, a more than seemingly inefficient way to murder. My father tells me this of his father, though. Decapitated a man while driving on a busy road in Cincinnati. The victim dropped their keys in the street, probably fumbled them with their feet bent down between 2 cars, parked parallel to pick them up, stuck their head too far out, and that's about all I know. This song was blasting when I took out a tree driving at 120 miles per hour on a Scottish back road. No idea how I survived that crash, walked away unscathed. Speed limits don't exist when this song plays. Prophetic lyrics that everyone should hear and learn to emulate by demons be driven down roads to nowhere. As a school bus driver, I relate to this like you can't possibly believe. I wish I didn't end up wrapping that Mustang. I flew off a 65-foot cliff upside down in my car listening to this song, hit the only tree growing out of the side of a cliff, flipped us back on our wheels, and we slid down the rest of the hill, all walked away without a scratch. Missed my 73 Z28 though. R.I.P. Danny Joe Brown. It ain't for everybody, y'all know what I mean. I rocked out the song on a mountain bike ride in Moab, helped me get through the rocks without shocks, just made a risky business decision. When asked what I had decided to do regarding the business, I simply nodded. Sometimes you find the perfect song. I got a cousin who shares the same birthday. We stopped having joint celebrations at 16. He started talking about aliens and the Warren Commission and buying unlicensed pre-workout, sponsored by the Joe Rogan Experience. Last year, he flipped his truck multiple times on I-10 west to Lafayette, Louisiana, suddenly falling asleep at the wheel, probably his heart. He and his passenger were totally unharmed, except maybe for the shock the awake friend must have felt in the passenger seat, trying feverishly to stir my cousin, or trying to grab the wheel, possibly, or both, before rolling over and over through a rice field. A series of doctor-administered tests never figured out why my cousin fell unconscious, but they continued to check his heart regularly. Hundreds of miles of backcountry gravel roads, one curve too many, bam, cut a new path, what turned out to be a local golf course. Blew out both front tires, took me days to find that car, pumped up the tires, drove home. This song will forever remind me of the NASCAR game. Announcer continually shouting, "Hey buddy, you're going the wrong way." I didn't really like the game. Almost died cranking this tune. Had many close calls. 100,000-pound load of logs and a Max Superliner, heading down I-75 to Savannah. 75 miles per hour, all she would do. This song blasting on the radio. R.I.P. That sucks he died, you know. He's coming back soon, like a thief in the night when you least expect him. I've got a stepfather who drives rigs for a living, loves to share stories about wrecks he's witnessed, living and working on the road. He's got an estranged father he had only just started to reconnect with as an adult. They met up once on a Hawaiian island. He tells me of a time 1,000 miles from home on icy roads. He pulls up to an active pileup. Cars were mashed together, and he offered what little help he could to each vehicle, moving all the way to the front of the line where the destruction swelled. The final truck, another rig engulfed in flames. The man trapped inside at the wheel was his estranged father, who he'd only met that once, lying deceased pinned in the seat. In no time, EMTs showed up to heave him dead from the cab of the 18-wheeler. Okay, this is my last poem. Going back to the little ear poem from the beginning. Little ear, tiny twist of bitter citrus, rind of wiggling folded fish skin. You try and lull me to sleep with the lusty sounds of jet engines, so I stay awake in the worldly racket of sitcoms on my wall-mounted TV. Nick at Night blares from the top bunk, sister snoring below in a nest of dirty clothes and in-sync posters. My face is a foot from the popcorn ceiling. I'm trying to ignore the howls of faces forming in the craters of plaster, distorted, pareidoic mouths. My brain waves straining to match TV frequencies, confusing megahertz for hertz, Fran Drescher for Vesper. I sneak Q-tips in my pocket to use like tuners inserted into canals, twisting until a plug of blood mutes all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was great. Appreciate it. And next up, it's a great pleasure to welcome R.B. Simon, she, her, who is a queer black disabled writer who has been published in multiple journals, among them Emerge Literary Journal, Pacific Review, The Poetry Co-op, Strange Horizons, Literary Mama, Calyx, and Obsidian. Her chapbook, The Good Truth, was released in July 2021 from Finishing Line Press, and her full-length collection, Not Just the Fire, was published in March 2023 from Cornerstone Press. Her third book, Bird, Bone, Blood, will be out in early 2025 from Milk and Cake Press. R.B. is currently a senior poetry editor for Harbor Review and lives in Madison, Wisconsin, with her spouse and toddler daughter. It's a great pleasure to welcome you. Thanks, R.B.
Okay, I'm even shorter without shoes. Hi. How are you all this fine evening? It's beautiful outside. Well, that was a hard act to follow. Thank you so much. Amazing. I want to start with a poem called Holding Water, which is in my new book that will be coming out next year. I want to write about the blue jar, the one on my desk for water when painting, how it is a peculiar color, maybe green, maybe blue, frosted about the rims with drips of watercolor, cyan, sunflower, dahlia pink. It was a gift. I don't remember from whom, only that it contained flowers wrapped in a brown raffia bow that shredded each time I watered them. I wish I could remember the type of flowers, could recall even the giver or occasion. I find it odd I cannot. I am hardly ever gifted any. Just a handful of bouquets in my half-century. It's easy to feel forgotten, inconsequential, like the empty jar, calcified rings frozen down its insides, where the water, left unattended, finally just disappeared. Okay, I'm gonna jump back a little bit in time to my Not Just the Fire book, which is here. I have two poems I'd love to read to you tonight for this, and these are some of the poems I love most to read out loud, the closest I come to spoken word. But this poem is called To the White Boy Who Asked Me, What Are You? When we were 11 years old. If you tried to look me up in a dictionary, searched every page, scoured old manuscripts, unrolled papyrus, back to the ages of the disciples and fishes and loaves, crawled through dusty, low-scraping grottos towards the innards of ancient pyramids, to scry the hieroglyphics of ages. Never would you see me rendered. Never find any tongue or translation to describe me, for I am untranslatable. My body, the unutterable truth of the generations of queens turned slaves, of shamans and seers turned dime store hustlers, yet who in the glimmering nights held one another like diamonds, unwilling to relinquish what they knew was priceless. The language of your ancestors cannot hold my own. Fraught with Freudian slips and poor transcriptions, your limited vowel roundness cannot contain the sing-song lilt, the cheeky click and clack of my greatest grandparents. Yet even among the wilderness of your willful ignorance, some syllables still speak volumes, that low rolling growl in the back of our throats, which warns you that a caged soul does not remain caged forever. And in the end, the honeyed tang of our unfettered voices pouring across our lips will be sweeter than any vengeance. Thank you. So I write a lot from my life, and I've had an adventurous one. I am a person in long-term recovery, and this is a poem I wrote about recovery, and it's called Ode to My Track Marks. You live along the side of my wrists, the crook of both elbows, behind the knees. I touch you, gentle as dabbing the gift of a perfume from a new lover. White puckered punctures echo the urgency of insatiable need. The slick steel sharp as a Cupid's arrow. Nostalgia is a jealous ex-lover, begging me to remember the feral romance of bells ringing in my blood, explosions of endorphins shaking my body to seizure. Yet, you, my darling scars, also sing to me of the bad breakup, of sweating and shitting, the old whore I'd become, a novel in there but the grace of God read in braille across my body. A story ending in the slowly smoothing flesh and my dreamless sleep pressed against my beloved. I didn't look at the time, so let me know if I get close. Thank you. I want to read a little more lighthearted one, because those were all kind of heavy. So, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with the show I Dream of Jeannie. I don't know if anybody else has ever had an obsession like that, but Jeannie was everything to me. So this poem is called I Dream. I don't think I could have sat closer to the TV without going cross-eyed. Peering up the arch of my nose from the floor of my shag bedroom carpet, I waited for the channel to change over to the classics at 10 p.m. I would have to wade through Dick Van Dyke and I Love Lucy first, of course. My eyes would grow stiff and dry around the edges, straining at the screen in the glowing dark. Next, Bewitched. Now we're getting somewhere. Telekinetic Kids, this was my jam. But somehow the magic always seemed to go awry, which was not quite it. Then, after the meowing black cat whisked off the Bewitched rolling credits, I would tense in anticipation. The momentarily dark screen flashes, I Dream of Jeannie, starring Larry Hagman and Barbara Eden, and I sigh. Jeannie in her fuchsia velvet bikini and wispily covered gams. Jeannie could do anything. Sure, Major Nelson would yell at her regardless, even though she was obviously just trying to people please for him. Men. But Jeannie's magic worked. Jeannie could grant anything. even the wish of a droopy-eyed 8-year-old on shag carpet, fervently wishing she too could live alone in a bottle where no one could ever make her come out. My eyes would slide closed as I imagined being scrawled across the curvy petal pink cushions of Jeannie's bottle, and the American anthem lulled me to sleep. One more? Okay, I'm going to read one more. Okay. So this one, I have a 20-month-old daughter. I also have a 22-year-old daughter, so I'm crazy. But this was a poem that I wrote after my second daughter was born. And it's called Little Star. You had no way of knowing as you found yourself launched into dark frozen space, speeding through circumgalactic medium, blasting through cosmic debris, searching for a galaxy of your own in which to grow. How astonishing the journey would be. For what are we born knowing? The scent of Huboras and the deep darkness of womb, which is nothing if not a tiny galaxy born to birth a star. I had no way of knowing as my universe expanded, stretch marks snaking my belly as I twisted, yielded, bore, and breathed all I had into your ultimate rejection, as I became your supernova, a launch toward a place I can only pray is big enough to hold you. How can we know what we don't? What seemed at the time like collision, like the dying of planets, like extinction, was only the face of creation, the spreading of your spiral arms. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic. And now I have the great pleasure of welcoming Soham Patel. Soham is the author of the poetry collections To Afar from Afar, Ever Really Hear It, winner of the 2017 Subito Prize, chosen by Mathias Svalina, who will be here next month. Wow, all right. And All One in the End, Water from Delete Press. And the chapbooks and Nevermind the Storm, New Weather Drafts, In Airplane and Other Poems, and Riva, a chapter. Recent poetry has appeared in Interim, Underbelly, and Prairie Schooner. So, welcome.
Oh man, thank you so much. I was not expecting to be so overwhelmed by joy to be back in Milwaukee and see all these people I love so very much. So thanks for having us. And Ty, that was really fun to think about words you hear wrong and how naughty they are. And, you know, a vengeance, RV, that's all sweetness. Thank you for that. Yeah. All right, I'm going to read 3 poems for you. One is from All One in the End, Water. That's not my line. You know whose it is? Pop quiz. Lorene Niederker. Yeah. You knew that. I'm trying to find it. Sorry. I was gonna ask Delete to put a table of contents and then I forgot. So I'm gonna find it. It's embarrassing. It's not. Okay. The title of this poem is We Can Sing to Assemble New Unmoved Empires. We can sing to assemble new unmoved empires. We can count pills fast as my pharmacist laughs. We can wake up better filled with dough than sorrow. We can extend the lunch hour to match a pollinator's pace. We can go live in an ashram, write about the country life, live. We can rummage in front of reference materials. We can take trains, but only when we travel. We can shout in the rotunda all night. We can cellar shelve ourselves underground. We can move over to pronounce wreckages with tongued consonants. We can be careful to transfer signals from one tongue to another. We can understand that the signals are equal to silk or sky. We can be this breath, and this one, and this one, and this. We can make drawings of horizons meeting fields with watercolors. We can wave at a city by water, my heart. We can paint our faces so well. We can wait to see the new moon. We can protest, litter our victory, force through the watering traffic. We can stop dropped fire on lived-on fields. We can learn to the oil co-execs in suits what to do new. We can shake a schoolhouse brick by brick. We can comfort and come and go like the weather. We can weaken and not just on the weekends. We can widen with riverbeds and dry, shift our shapes. We can say yes and yes and, but then. So, the title of this next one is, I'm going to read a few from what was my diss. I still carry it around. I've been revising it about half a dozen times since I turned it in for UW for my Ph.D. But the title now is The Daughter Industry, a Hauntological Confession, Alternative History, Speculative Autopoetics in 7 voices and 3 parts. And this is a draft of what'll be the next book, and it's coming out in the spring of 26 from Nightboat. I don't know how to pirouette, but in the title of this poem, the word pirouette is in there, and so I imagine they'd be here pirouetting with every line. The title is Princess in a Sequined Dress Pirouettes. Princess in a sequenced dress pirouettes. If given a chance to pick another time and place to live in, I still pick this. Only since we have not yet imagined any other ways into conceiving ways, our critical force can hold over to new meanings in the sound of a heart that beats both into its very own stumble and into its very own stop. To trace then any labor in sweat, equity, in time on the floor, joy even over time, PTO. I don't mind working so hard if it means our kids won't have to, but they will have to fight for water as the current climate collapse continues sinking this turtle earth ship. We are in a genocide, and we live in genocide, and we live during a genocide and with this gendercide. We live when Christmas is canceled in Bethlehem, then what's left? Famine, no feast for after the fast. Children wail on laptops live stream. I weep while dead sea salt dissolves in the tub water with me. I weep and still I will sing and dance. I will spin and sparkle with you, even when there's no need to. And the last one I'll read you is Chris is here, and he taught me what a lipogram is. And so I wrote one. And then you workshopped the hell out of it, and then I revised it. And here's what it looks like now. World without girls. These the odes to take us out. When we take, you count what's found, then nest down by the maps and ask the dead end when second sons each become homos. These odes can take us out, and you, and you, and you choose. Many a body hate these odes, but just why we do not know. She, eyes shut, a maud ocean, a skied bay dashes. She asks, what's open, my mad notebook? We shadow types, know us and know the advocated unknown. Don't keep away. We not a man, we not a woman. We came up and cupped hands to a chest. We know about you. My name's a man's name. Don't sweat my name. Huff and puff my name. Say ban, say upon, and at about 2 a.m. say of my name a body bent. East, west, my namesake pushes out, puts food out. My book states names, face them. They symptom, they say an abyss. That's what they'd bet. Bamboo on a 1, hopscotch and spots, cast and cast away. Stacked woman want to keep the way of my name when my husband escapes the want on my head too. Shampoo tub wet, but no, move on, odes out, move on, out of town. Mast aback, he pouts at what names the state. He catches a sway on a peak apt to feuds, not houses, not towns, not feet. The estate has went, has moved. A few tones stay as epochs fastened to the dead end when quotas decayed. Each season hen's head waned to stoned hope, to become the baby's face. We nose the cement, pavement washes off, a penny on a toy, and we move out of town. Mast aback we pout, dance off. Mud bottoms each shoe, mud bottoms each paw. Opaque names say us, opaque names stay us. We jump the body on as when face up upon the stone we want what mom wants, what's best to keep. Thank you so much. Milwaukee!
So, thank you. All right, closing things out. It's such a pleasure to welcome Siwar Masannat, who's a Jordanian writer, the author of Q poems from Georgia Review Books, UGA Press, just recently out, and then 50 Water poems from Cleveland State University Poetry Center. Masannat is the managing editor of the African Poetry Book Fund and Prairie Schooner, and holds a Ph.D. in English from UW Milwaukee. Siwar, welcome, and thank you for being here.
Hello. It is very wonderful to be here with you all. Thank you so much to Woodland Pattern and to all of the folks here, and it's been wonderful hearing all of these poems. So I'll start actually by reading a poem that just came out maybe in spring 2024 in Arab Lit Quarterly. And this issue is dedicated to Gaza. The poem is by Ibrahim Nasrallah, who is a Palestinian Jordanian poet, and it was translated from Arabic by Huda Fakhruddin. Mary of Gaza. Peace on earth is not for us, not for my son, not for yours, Mary said to Mary. O sister of my land, sister of my footsteps on this land, sister of my soul, of my prayers, sister of dawn and its clarity, sister of my death and its calamity, sister of what remains for us of death and what remains of life. Peace on earth is not for us. Does the sky above us not see, or do the crosses on our backs in the fields of bitter blood obscure us? Is peace on earth not for us? Is it for our enemies, O God, for their plains, for death as it descends and death as it ascends, for death as it speaks, lies, and dances? Nothing satisfies it, neither our blood in sorrow, nor our blood in beauty, neither our blood in the seas, nor our blood in the fields. Our blood in the mountains, our blood in the soil, our blood in the sands, our blood in the answer, our blood in the question, our blood in the north, our blood in the south, our blood in peace, our blood in war. Nothing satisfies death. Peace is for our enemies, O God, for their guards in distant lands and their guards in nearby lands. Peace is for every brother who, like an enemy, besieges us, and every brother who passes over our death to his throne on our ruins. There is no place here for a butterfly, a girl who lost her feet, no place for a lover to die of love, not warplanes. No place for the poem exulting its poet who writes, "If I must die, you must live to tell my story." The sea is not for the bird or the beloved, and the sky has turned its back on us like a foreign land. Peace on this earth is not for us, it is for others. Peace is for children other than mine. Peace is the silence after our massacres, before our massacres, amid our massacres. Peace is silence when we scream, and silence when we are silenced. Peace is the voice that orders kill them and then kills us with silence. Peace on earth is not for us. It is for tyrants, cock-headed leaders, and all the armies of dust. It is for those who kill the young and old, for soldiers, for those who shackle the horizon, for the ones who shed blood, the ones who hate the martyrs and kill the witnesses. Peace is for a tyrant here and a tyrant there, for tails barking here and here, and for weapons hissing everywhere. It is for the one now gouging my eyes so I don't see you. O God, take everything and keep us here, close to our sea and the graves of our loved ones and our homes here. We will not disappear. Close we will remain. Take us or keep us if you wish, whenever or however you want, but close to your heart's eye we will remain. Or, O God, be our fortress. We will not escape our death if night falls. We will remain, O God, at the doors of your soul, the church, the mosque, the sea, the soil, the palm trees, and life, or what little of it survives. Or, O God, take us, but keep a little of our souls here, some of our remains here on the thresholds of our homes and their ruins, for peace on this earth is not for us. We long for peace, dream of it, and love it, but it's not for us. Peace, as simple as my mother's tears and joy and sorrow, is not for us. Peace that flies like a wing, lands like a wing. Peace as beautiful as a song, as gentle as laughter, not for us. Not for us is a peace as tame as our cat before they killed her. Since she died, our cat still hungers, moans, and purrs. And as we move from a room in the north to a tent in the south, she still follows behind. Peace on this earth is not for us, not for Gaza when it rejoices in the spring like children, not for Akka, awake for 1,000 years, guarding us like our grandmothers, not for the beautiful Yafa, not for Jesus who rose from our blood, then from our flesh, then from our land and our endless resurrections. Peace on this earth is not for us, not for your holy Jerusalem, O God, ascending with your prophet and our Quran. Peace on this earth is not for us. O God, peace on this earth will be mine, mine than yours. Since the children of my soul ascended the sky to you, peace has become the butterflies fluttering between their fingers. Nothing remains for me here but there remains. A long day that moans, ruined thresholds and names covered with feathers of fallen doves. Between their fingers, the butterfly's sun sets in the wind of the horizon. I said nothing to the butterfly. I let the little wings flutter like my soul between their fingers and travel between ashes and you. I will sing in the name of 20, 30,000 who rose on this earth. I will not say, peace is for those who kill, uproot, and burn. Peace on this earth was ours before them here, and peace on this earth will be ours after them here. Peace is ours, peace is ours. Now I will read the final poem of my book Q, and it's called A Planet, a Planet, a Planet. That is to say, cells, the small of light bouncing of one lone, long hair from your cheek. That is to say, our membranes, the very operational closure of the system. Here is a bat's long ear and animal skin. Know that when Spallanzani leaned in to study flight, he scorched the bat's ear. Am I your wolf, an evolution in which we taste the tart of sumac to feel its crystal edge? That is to say, the planet is at once thirsty and wet. The operational closure of the system, the small of light dying slow and one lone arm sprouting hair. That is to say, membrane, long fracture. As I say wolf, you must know that means kin. I will carry you. So would you kiss those very lonely wolves against a crucial step in early evolution where genetic progress long shuns normative progress? A system, that is to say, such a boundary always has a double function. That lone hair on your cheek and long seducing wolf loneliness out of me against a crucial step in the internal compartment of grief. That is to say, we are specialized in planet deaths, repeat in the small light oozing from our lone, long hands. Beloved, know I will carry your trouble as if it is mine. A simultaneous separation from an exchange with the environment could be as death-ridden as a cut flower drooping slow onto the cool windowsill. That is to say, progress, whereas the orchid refuses to sprout, showy in fear of a loneliness, in fear of a cruel singularity in this house. Long plant boundary must have been a crucial step in the openness of my tongue against your nose hair. That is to say, a wolf, a bat's ear, that is to hear that a bat's fear is real, that dog's hiss at Spallanzani's hand, slick, reaching to show once again how tadpoles grow a new tail. That is to say, as easy as a mild chicken stew. The establishment of a lone, long boundary, the U.S. military, that contagion, once sought to weaponize bats' echolocation, their smooth flight, to minimize collateral, they had said. Who is to say the orchid snubs the gardenia's eager flowers? There, a planet romance, as if to say nervous system, as criterion for whose love. For a pale, lone pack hacks away at something cellular to establish long boundary membrane. This wrist of yours is caught in my eye in a swift, soft flick. You are readjusting your little watch instrument of time. And so I reach for the orchid's root, its gesture to spiral out. Did Spallanzani's hand tremble as he caught a hint to progress in a small bat's ear? Thank you.
Siwar, thank you so much. And thanks again, Siwar, and to Soham, R.B. Simon, Ty Newcomb. One more time for everybody. It was fantastic. Really just tremendous readings all around. And I hope that you'll maybe stick around, enjoy the good company, the beautiful night in this park. Come visit us over there at the book table. And then after you do that and depart and maybe have like a little time in between, a month in between, then come back here September 10th as we close out the season with Jordan Dunn, Alex Niemi, Krista Langwell, and Mathias Svalina. So thanks. Good night, everybody.